So let's say if you're trying to deploy a firewall, the firewall at least have a 2-3 links, minimum 2 links required. One is WAN link, which is connecting to outside world, which actually connect firewall to outside world, or to connect firewall to ISP. And
Okay.
also one more link is required, which is LAN. So let's say it's my LAN link. LAN connecting to users, all the clients or users, which is behind this firewall. So these are the users which is behind this firewall. And one by one link, it's my DMZ link, which is actually connecting with switch. And this switch further connecting servers. So we have 3 basic things with firewall. First is WAN, LAN, and DMZ. So let's say if any traffic we do send from LAN to WAN, for example, this particular machine trying to access a server which is on internet. So let's say that's my Facebook server, and it is having IP address this 2222. And this particular machine also have IP address 10.1.1.1.10. I'm assuming that this particular machine have IP address 10.1.1.10. And now, if I'm trying to send traffic, so traffic look like this. Source is 10.1.1.1.10. Destination is 222. And that's my packet. That's actually my packet. When packet comes to firewall, so firewall will check. It is receiving on this interface 1 by 3. So our interface which receives the firewall packet, we called it ingress interface. So it's become ingress, and firewall will try to out this particular packet from WAN interface. It's become egress. So between ingress and egress, all inspection, all checking, or all rule policies, firewall will do apply. So firewall is a kind of device, you can say, which inspect or check your traffic. And based on inspection, based on checking, if traffic is allowed, let's say you have a policy, and policy says traffic should be allowed. If you have a policy match and policy says traffic should be allowed, then firewall will do allow traffic. And last thing firewall will give, firewall will do provide log. So if any traffic which is passing through firewall, which is traversing through firewall, so firewall will do provide log for that particular traffic.
Okay. So one thing, Aftab, one question. What you said is at 1 by 3 interface, there's an ingress because this is about to reach from inside to the outside, right? So that's why we call it ingress. So, but if there is some time when traffic comes from the outside to the inside, so then
So the
then the
role
ingress
get
will be on
changed.
top.
Yes, ingress interface will become this, and
Okay.
egress will be 1 by 3.
I got it. Okay.
So ingress, egress is not fixed. It do actually change based on the flow. If any traffic which is going from LAN to WAN, so you'll see like LAN interface or an interface which is receiving the traffic will become ingress, and the interface which is trying to out or doing exit your packet, that interface will become egress.
Oh, okay.
So the main 3 functions firewall will do perform. The very first function is traffic inspection. So firewall will do check or analyze all the packets which is going or flowing through the firewall. And based on that, firewall will also check the policy. If there is a policy match, if there is a ACL, policy ACL rule. If I'm saying policy ACL access control list or rule, it's all have the same meaning. So if there is a policy match, if there is an ACL match, if there is a rule, then based on the policy, it can either do allow or it can do deny your traffic. And based on that, we'll see the log. So log means a firewall will give visibility.
Okay.
Traffic we are passing, what traffic we are dropping. So all we can see here on firewall log. So the basic concept of firewall is like it's kind of security guard which check each and everything, and based on that can do either allow or deny.
Okay.
Now let's to understand the FortiGate perspective. So nowadays, like whatever firewalls we have, all firewalls we have like NGFW, next generation firewalls. All modern firewalls or advanced firewalls will provide next generation feature.
What is the difference between the normal firewall and the next generation firewall?
Nowadays, like normal firewalls, we do not have all firewalls to perform next generation. So let's try to understand first next generation firewall. Then we can differentiate. Nowadays, all firewalls we do have next generation. So next generation firewalls are normal firewalls. Difference we can understand. So nowadays, firewall can do perform traffic inspection up to layer 7. So normally we have two things. One is OSI model, OSI reference model. Reference model do have 7 layers, but in practical, which model we use? TCP/IP model. So in TCP/IP model, we have 4 layers. All devices do follow TCP/IP model. So as per TCP/IP model, you see, so the very first layer is layer 2. And then it's layer 3, layer 4, and layer 7. So if we do check any log or any sort of like traffic log in firewall, so you will get the layer 2, layer 3, layer 4, and layer 7 information. So layer 2 is your data link layer as per OSI, if you see. But in TCP/IP model, it's your layer first. And it's your layer number 2nd, it's layer 3rd, and it's layer 4. So whatever the function we do perform with 7 layers, the same we can do perform with 4 layers. And TCP/IP model as we use. So if you see the firewall function, so firewall can also do perform traffic inspection up to layer 7. And if I do specify the task here, so layer 2 is basically we use for MAC address. Means all MAC address information we will check here on layer 2. All IP related information we'll get here on layer 3, like source IP, destination IP. So whatever the information here we'll get, it actually in form of header. So when you see the traffic, so firewall, when you see the traffic on any particular device, whether it's on firewall or it's on router, so everywhere you will see like headers. So layer 2 header do have a source MAC, destination MAC. Can be like this: source MAC, destination MAC. Similarly, if you see here layer 3, so layer 3 is all your layer 3 to keep all information regarding IP header. So layer 3 will do have a source IP information, destination IP. Similarly, layer 4 do keep all information about port number. And if you see at layer 3, layer 4, we have 2 protocols mainly. One is TCP and another is UDP. So if application required reliability and required proper transmission of data along with record, so we use TCP. If you need fast communication, real-time communication, mostly application uses UDP. So all the port number information we can see here on layer 4, like port 80, 443. all port number information we can do either allow, block, or we can inspect or check at layer 4. And layer 7 is application layer. Here we can see all application related information. Any application which we do use, all application do work on layer 7. Let's say you are trying to access any website. So the protocol is HTTP. So HTTP protocol do work on layer 7. And along with this, you will see one more thing. These are the headers and the actual data. Let's say you are trying to access any particular file or you are trying to download any particular file. So your actual data is file, voice message, video, email attachment, or whatever the header part, body part of your email you provide. So that's your actual data. So along with actual data, you will see all these layers. You are sending text message to someone. So actual data is text message.
It will go with layer 7.
Yeah, it is attached with layer 7 and we called it payload. Actual data, we called in technical term payload. So along with layer 7 as well payload, if you see your FortiGate inspection or nowadays firewall inspection. So firewall can do inspect the data traffic up to layer 7. Layer 7. Plus it can also do inspect your payload part. Payload means your actual data. Let's say you are trying to send text file, and if text file having any malicious code, let's say you are trying to download, but you are trying to download particular file which is having some malicious code or malicious symptom. So when it comes to firewall, if firewall having antivirus function, so firewall can scan your payload.
Okay.
Based on scanning, firewall can detect.
Okay.
But you have to apply that antivirus inspection along with policy.
Okay.
Similarly, if let's say you have some advanced malware, so firewall can do perform anti-malware function. So when traffic or payload comes, it will do inspect. And based on inspection, if there is any malicious payload or malware, so it can either do block or it can do detect.
Okay.
Similarly, IPS function is there, intrusion prevention system. If someone doing attack, so attack pattern can also be recognized with firewall. So if there is any attack intention or someone sending attack traffic, so all these traffic we can do drop here on firewall based on like these profiles. Let's say you want to control your URL and applications within organization. For example, let's say there is one request, there's one ticket you got, and in that ticket you have to block all social media traffic. So let's say you get a one request in which you have to block all social media websites and applications, or you get a one request in which you have to block all job portals. So if you are trying to block one by one, so it's become very tedious.
Right.
It's next to impossible. So what we get here in firewall, we already have an application and URL control. So here we have a category based filtering. So if you do apply, like let's say you do select social media category, and you just do click on that and say all social media traffic should get blocked along with policy. So whenever traffic matches with social media application, Facebook or Instagram, Twitter, so it will automatically block. So these
we
all
can
options
we can do this in, I mean, we can also have a, if I want to, block 5 users, only 5 users social media. So we can do that also, right?
So that also we can do. We have to, let's say you want to allow, let's say you want to specify the rule. You want to block only for few users. So based on IPs.
Yeah, it will be a, no, the thing is in the office, what happens, we have dynamic IPs. Okay. So is it that we will group them in as one, we will have a group of these range, IP range, and we'll block it, or if I want to give individual, so I need to implement static, or what is the process?
Even though if you have a static IP, so if you do have a if you do have a dynamic IP assignment, so dynamic IP assignment is based on DHCP. So one thing you can do, increase the lease time of DHCP. So you can keep it for a year or 6 months. So till 6 months, your IP will not get changed for the users.
Okay, okay.
Most of the time in organization, people do the same. So that if you do block or allow for X IP, so it will remain same for so long. So that's a way. Otherwise, you can use the static IP, or you can do bind, MAC and IP. That is also possible, but I think that's not feasible solution. So the DHCP based option is better. Apart from that, if your organization running with user ID concept, let's say you have Active Directory, AD server. So instead of blocking users based on IP, we can select username.
Okay, okay. And we can connect this with the firewall. I mean, this.
Yes. AD Active Directory database, we can synchronize with firewall. And once the database gets synchronized, so instead of selecting IPs, we can select the user name or user IDs. So that's a more convenient way to block or to allow the traffic based on user or based on IP. So in that way, firewall is going to check your IP address along with your user ID. So it works like this. So that is also a feature. So firewall, let's say if you have a FortiGate firewall. So FortiGate firewall can integrate with Active Directory, AD server. So let's say this is my AD server. And it's having domain name XY, abc.com or XYZ. So we have, let's say, n number of users here. So firewall will allow to sync the database. So all the users and their groups we can synchronize here. So if let's say you want to block particular user, so that's a LAPI of particular user. Let's say that's a laptop of particular user and username is test1. And this machine having IP address 10.1.1.1.10. So instead of using IP address, simply we can say test1 should not get Facebook access. When source is test1, destination is this Facebook, should be blocked. So it will not going to match IP address.
Okay.
Or you can specify the subnet. So you can say if this subnet is there and this ID is there, so do block. So any IP user will get, it will do block. Even though if user is connecting from remote location and trying to access the website and traffic is sending towards firewall, so that also be blocked.
Okay.
So user ID, LDAP feature, all these features will get in single box. So now let's say if I do combine all these things in a single box. So let's say we'll do just combine all the feature up to layer 7 inspection, layer 2 to layer 7 inspection. If we do combine layer 2 to layer 7 inspection, if we do combine with firewall, along with all your payload inspection, and to just apply the payload inspection, firewall will perform multiple other features like antivirus, anti-spyware, vulnerability features, IPS function, DDoS attack prevention, as well your user ID function, URL control, application control, SSL offloading. When we do combine all these features and within single box, so that box will become NGFW. So nowadays, firewall is fully application aware. Firewall can perform application control, URL filtering. Firewall can perform traffic encryption, decryption. So if you see the FortiGate, so FortiGate is fully a next generation firewall, fully NGFW, all NGFW features supported. SD-WAN feature is also supported by FortiGate. So WAN link optimization.
So what is the difference between these two, NGF and SD-WAN?
SD-WAN is some feature name.
Oh, it's a feature name to control it from the web UI.
Feature name basically SD-WAN will allow to manage your links, WAN links. So let's say you have a two ISP connection one end. So if you want to combine these two links and you want to perform load balancing, so you have to enable SD-WAN feature. So if one link goes down, so traffic will move to automatically to link number 2. If both available, so to perform load balancing. As well, you can do monitor the latency, path latency, jitter, all these. So jitter, latency, all these we can do here, monitor. And based on monitoring, we can do decide whether the traffic should be allowed or whether the path should be ISP 1 or 2. That we can also do define.
Okay.
So SD-WAN is just to manage your WAN connections. If you have multiple WAN connections, so you can use SD-WAN feature.
Okay, right.
So all firewalls of FortiGate, all FortiGate series and models do support the same features. So FortiGate firewall available with different deployment mode, with different deployment modes. So mainly 3 deployments or 3 available modes we have. So the very first option is like you can go with physical appliance. You can go with physical appliance.
Okay.
So you can buy hardware. You can buy hardware for the client, and that hardware you can do deploy. So different models are there. FortiGate 30, FG30, FortiGate 40, FG40. So let's say if you're trying to buy FG30, so the number itself suggests how many users or how many up to how many users it can do cater your traffic. So if let's say you are using FG30, so it can hardly cater users up to 30 or 40. Means it can bear the traffic or load of 30-40 users. If you are using FG40, so it can do use up to 60-70 users. If let's say you have a FG16, so it can handle up to 80 or 100 users.
So one question here, maybe you will also teach me in future in a more practical way. Just a common question. See, if I have around say 60 users, okay, and if I take for FG30 and FG32 firewalls to put them on HA and also for load balancing, will it do the load balancing as well for 60? Because it is only for 40, one firewall 30, FG30. But if I take two
Yes,
firewalls.
that's a good question. So let me tell you how exactly the FortiGate firewall do work. So let's say you are running 2 firewalls and you are trying to load balance.
Load balance and HA, I mean both facility.
Yes. Along with HA, firewall number 1, firewall number 2, you are running in HA. HA means you are trying to combine and you are running active.
Active mode.
HA can be active passive as well active. So active passive means one firewall only be handling the traffic, and once your primary firewall goes down, then traffic comes to next available firewall.
Yeah.
So if you are running active, it means both firewalls will do actively process your traffic. So in active, you can do increase the efficiency of your network. Let's say you are trying to use traffic of 60 users here. So if you are using active, so you can apply the load balancing algorithm, and both firewall will do easily handle traffic up to 60. But the problem comes
30 and every 30.
Yeah, that's a, let's say this is model FG30,
Mm.
correct? Small model, but
Yes.
the users we have, which is 16. So here
Okay.
we'll have to apply two
Load
firewalls.
balancing it.
And
Mm.
yes, let's say we have a total number of 60 users and 30 users. This firewall is capturing and 30 user traffic. This firewall is passing. So 30 users running fine. But let's suppose in any condition, if one firewall goes down, so this firewall will become bottleneck or overutilized, and the firewall number two may get choked
Mm.
because it is only having capacity to handle 30. So it's a risky deployment, but yes, for time being, it is good.
And
If
also
both
can when
firewall
we
running.
and also can we use two differently? For example, can I use FG30 and FG40 as HA and all, or we need to use same?
For high availability, you have to make sure your model number, operating system version, patch as well, your
No, even
port
for active
number,
passive,
all these must be same.
even for active passive.
Yes.
Okay.
It's not about FortiGate, it's for all firewalls. If you're
Yeah,
trying
yeah,
to
yeah, all
build
firewall.
HA
Yeah, yeah.
or a cluster, so you just have to make sure model number, serial model number, license, and your port number, your patch,
Mm,
OS version.
mhm,
These things must be same. Otherwise, high availability will not be available.
I understand. Mhm.
So
And one
physical
thing, sorry, one
appliances,
more thing, one more question over here. See, because we have 30, for example, FG30 can, take care of around up maximum 40 users, for example. Okay. Now, these users, when we say these users, is this particular 40 users when we implement all the security policies, even then it will cater 40? Because usually what
yes.
happens is the traffic load will increase with the increase of the features which we implement.
So there is a one term which we call throughput. So normally in layman language, we do decide based on users like 30, 40. But exactly there is a term which we call throughput. So throughput means a total number of traffic which firewall can do proceed at a time, including all interfaces. So let's say we have a four interfaces in firewall, one, two, three, four, and all interfaces I'm using. So if firewall is having capacity of like 50 Mbps throughput, so it means 50 Mbps data this firewall can do process at a time.
Mm, mhm,
And next thing which decide the capacity of firewall, that is connection of sessions.
mm,
So let's say 30K can do handle 60,000 sessions maximum. So sessions means, let me make you understand session. So if you're trying to browse Facebook and you open tab of Facebook, so that's one session.
Okay.
And you just open another session like Gmail, so that's another session. And again, you are trying to open the website
Okay.
Google, so that's another session. So total number of sessions at a time user can be a total number of
Mm,
sessions can be handled by this FortiGate, that is 60K. It means maximum connection at a time can do keep in the table, which is 60K. If it is going beyond, so firewall performance may degrade or firewall
So
may not
multiple
be used
users.
properly.
Okay. So
Yeah.
multiple users with multiple session in one time, right?
Yes, multiple user, multiple sessions, and based on that, firewall also check the throughput.
Got it.
So if throughput is 50 Mbps,
Mm,
means 50 Mbps traffic is incoming as well for overall incoming and outgoing. When we just combine incoming and outgoing or in or out traffic, and the sum of in and
mhm.
out is 50 Mbps, then it will normal. But if
Okay.
this sum is going higher, then firewall again may not respond properly as
Okay.
expected.
Got it.
So throughput, connection, sessions, all these things. But normally in general, people do ask like number of users. So
Mhm.
accordingly, they do suggest the model. Other models also we have like FortiGate 100, FortiGate 101, 200, 300. So these are the like bit advanced models, and you will see the
So like
size of
what is the
box also
difference?
get increased.
Yeah, what is the high level difference between F and G? Like I have seen it, they say 100F or 100G or 200F. So what is the basic difference?
Capacity, firewall capacity. So if firewall model, let's say you're trying to buy a bit higher model, so the license price get increased because this particular model can be catered up to 200 users. And if you do check the physical appliance, so here you will see the CPU, RAM, all these have a increased, as well SSD, your hard disk space, that also be a bit higher. 200F if you see, so 200F can be cater at up to 400 users, 4 to 500 users. So the hardware appliance is bit higher capacity, along with CPU and memory as well. The disk space also will get increased, and then accordingly you will get the license price also.
Yes. So one thing,
Function wise, it's
Aftab,
same.
yeah, so after one thing, see, if we have, for example, 200 users, I understand we can use, 200 F, maybe for example, you have 200 F, model firewall. Now, if usually in an organization, there are two kind of people who will be accessing the firewall. One is the users, the other one is the software in-house developed, and they are hosting the, software and the databases. So people might try to you try to access the database from outside network, so again the traffic will increase, right?
Yes.
So there we
So
don't have
if
a
let's
count for
say,
number of users. Yeah.
yeah, that's basically that will increase the connection. So
Yes,
that will
yes.
also be in part of your outside users. So that is part of the connection. So let's say you have a servers, and these servers used by the developers, correct?
Uh-huh.
Server and server two, and developers doing access of these servers from outside.
Yeah, I mean
So
the
they,
general user, like for example Facebook, we are the users for Facebook, right? So we access Facebook as end users. Okay. So maybe there will be millions of end users trying to access this particular database from the Facebook, right?
the same thing I'm saying. Let's say you
Yeah,
have
yeah.
any in-house application, correct? Your company own application with people accessing from outside, client one, client two, client three. So here firewall capacity and connections get increased here also. So that also we count. So let's
Hmm.
say normally they do access your applications. So connection table get increased based on the session.
Hmm. Okay.
So when traffic comes, firewall will check the policy, matting,
Mhm.
and then accordingly users get the access of application. So that also count
So that means that will increase the, I mean, they will, so we can say that there are
source
100 users inside and multiple users outside. So we need
outside.
to,
Yes.
yeah, understand the, entire thing. Maybe we'll say 500 people will connect every day. For example, 500 users out from outside. So we need to take a bigger firewall for that, right?
Yes, yes, definitely. Otherwise, resource get short.
Okay, I got
Because
it. Very
outside
interesting.
users also connecting with the same firewall, or they are consuming your resource.
Hmm,
They're all making connection table, session table on firewall, and firewall checking the policy every time for all users.
hmm.
If
Anyways,
if there is no policy match, or it's
it
not
will,
matching
yeah. Mhm, mhm.
as per the policy, so it will drop. So everything the same working like inside user. So whatever inspection firewall doing for inside user, similar type of inspection firewall is doing for the outside user
Outside users, yeah, yeah.
or the application also.
So now you said there are three kind of mode. One is physical mode. That's I understood. It's about the
One
hardware
is
and
like
all.
physical appliance.
Hmm.
Yeah. Next is like virtual. Virtual firewall also you can do use virtual, like you can do use KVM deployment, or you have, if you have a virtualized environment of VMware, ESXi. So there also you can do deploy, and you can do use the license. And in very similar way, you can do use virtualized environment or virtualized firewalls on cloud. So we have a different platforms, including your AWS, Azure. So there also we have a FortiGate firewall, Google Cloud.
Okay, okay.
So
So can
whatever
we
the
hy
LAN,
so can we hybrid it? For example, if I take 100F on prem and then 100F on the cloud, will it work?
yes, yes, definitely. So
Mm.
it's like you, let's say, hybrid model look like this. So let's say this is your firewall FG100. So all the LAN users, this is my LAN PC. those who want to go to on internet. So all traffic inspection, application control I'm doing here. That's one part which I'm running. Now, next part can be like this. Let's say we have one firewall which is similar to 100F or having a same sort of like capacity, and it is on cloud. And here I've deployed my application server 1, server 2, server 3, server 4. So whenever people do try to access from internet these servers, so instead of coming here on this, people do come to here on this cloud and they'll get access of servers. And if you want to connect these two firewalls, and you want to connect your infrastructure with your cloud firewall, so you can do configure IPsec tunnel.
Okay.
And
So
let's say
is it like side-to-side VPN also?
yes, side-to-side VPN.
Oh,
Side-to-side VPN we can establish, and if your developer or application user is within organization, so when inside application when user from inside network trying to access the cloud application, so it will follow this tunnel. And once this is received on this firewall, cloud firewall, it will check the policy and matches the user and then allow access of application server. So that's how hybrid model works.
I got it. Okay. This is interesting. Okay.
So FortiGate do allow 3 types of deployment. One is your physical appliance based, which is very common. And next is your virtual, and third is your cloud based. Now let's try to understand the a bit practical how we can do access and how we can do get the CLI access of FortiGate and how we can do configure. So let's say we have a FortiGate firewall. This is my FortiGate firewall. And if you're trying to access FortiGate firewall, so normally firewall do have a management port, dedicated management port to manage the firewall. Initially, if you want to access over this management port, so you can do use. As well, it also do have other your data ports, port number 1, 2, 3, 4 WAN LAN ports, and one console port you will get for the CLI access, direct CLI access. You can get direct CLI access of firewall over this port. So CLI access based on console we have, as well management port, which allow to access firewall dedicatedly, or you can say direct management access. So if user is there, so by default firewall do have one IP address which is configured on management port. It's I think 1.90. In some firewalls you'll get 1.100. So you can see the box on the box is also mentioned. So let me check it. Default IP on management port. It's not 1.1. Mostly firewalls do have 192.168.1.1, but in FortiGate I think it's 1.90.
Oh, for management port, it is fixed.
Yeah.
As a default.
Yeah, it's a default IP. FortiGate default management IP.
So we can change it also, right? If we want.
Yes, we can change it.
Okay.
But first time you can do, it's 99. Something 90. So it's 99 actually. So the default IP is 1.99. So that's pre-configured, and password is not there. Username is admin, but password is not there. So you can set the password.
The first time deployment.
Yeah, when you do try to get the access, or you are doing you are unboxing first time your firewall, so we see like default IP is 1.99 and username is admin, but there is no password.
Okay.
And you can do accesses over console also. So it depends model to model. So let me show you a diagram of one model. Let's say you have FG100 FortiGate. So it look
What is
like
this?
this.
Okay, FG100. Okay, 5. Okay.
This is the FortiGate model 10100. So that is my console port.
Okay.
Yeah, the very first one you will see. That is console port. That is my WAN port, WAN 2. And here you will see management port also, but it's not here
Okay.
showing properly.
Only
So
one port is
management
there
port
for
is to
management, right?
dedicatedly access. Yes.
So management port, through that we can have a web interface connection also, right?
Yes, yes. Web interface connection, it will do allow SSH you can do use.
Okay, that is SSH we can do through the management port, and console is directly we can
By
connect.
default IP, yes. By default can do use. Yeah, just like this. See, console port and HA. This is the management port.
Okay, got it.
AC power supply,
Mm.
console, HA, management, gig ports.
Mm. Okay.
And these are the like fundamentals which you have to remember. Let's say you get a new
Okay.
box. So once you do unbox, most of the time you will see the default IP and all information, serial number, all already written there.
Okay.
And now let's try to use the lab. And let me show you one firewall access and how you can use the technology and everything here on
Yeah,
that.
you can give me a demo for that also.
Yeah. So the lab you can do access over remote. So that's our link. back.networks.com colon 4545 and you say connect. And after that, you have to mention username and password. So we'll get the access. And now we got the gem server. Now do try to open the browser and here you have to type one IP address which is 252. That's my local lab server IP. And here again you have to mention username and password. And then login.
Got it now. This is interesting. After you think
Now,
in 35 hours we'll be able to cover everything, all the security modules and infrastructure, everything we can cover.
yes, yes. FortiGate official syllabus is also 20 hours and 15 hours.
Okay, I got
So I also cover everything, but it depends on your like practice. So
okay.
practice and perform everything. So it will take around 100 hours.
Oh, I understand. Yes, 35 hours the core study, and then there will be more hours I'm
Yes,
practicing on the weekdays and all those things.
yes, yes. If, let's say if I'm completing particular lab theory in 1.5 hours, so the same you have to for you it will take around 2.5 or 3 hours.
I
So
understand.
35 hours dedicatedly I will do teach you. I'll do make you understand everything.
Okay.
So,
Got it.
yeah, let me just do try to create first lab.
Mm.
Here you can do click and say lab one and so FortiGate. You can give any name and then say add. So here we have all our devices and all router switches we can use. So I'm trying to show you one basic infrastructure of FortiGate, how the FortiGate will work. So let's say we have a FortiGate firewall. So just click on FortiGate and select here FortiGate operating system. Multiple operating systems are there. FortiGate manager analyzer. So I'm using FortiGate firewall and then save. And to connect with internet, I'm going to use cloud. So let's say I'm using this cloud management cloud for internet. So that's my port number, let's say 1. It's connecting to internet. Actually, it's a port. It's a one port of my server, but here for the lab, it is showing as a cloud. So for internet
Okay.
access, we always have to use this IP subnet here in lab. 1.0. That's a subnet. Subnet for the WAN.
This is for the lab only or normal in the?
For the lab.
Okay.
This is for the lab only. So if you want to get real-time internet access, so that's my WAN subnet for the lab. And the gateway of this subnet is already configured. So that's a gateway.
Okay, you already you have configured.
Already configured on the lab. So if you need gateway, so you can just use first IP, but you cannot do configure first IP on your interface. Otherwise, it will do overlapping.
This is in the lab only, but in the real time we need to do it, right?
But in real time, like in real time also, it's very similar. ISP will provide you IPs.
Oh, okay. Yes. They will give me a IP
next
range.
hop IP, ISP will do configure.
I understand.
One IP will be on ISP end, and one IP will do configure on your firewall. And gateway is always ISP IP. So the similar kind of thing you will see here in lab. ISP IP is 1.1 for the lab.
Okay. So that gateway usually will be with the ISP only, right?
Yes. ISP will provide like this. ISP, let's say, giving this subnet to you, /29. So it means we have a total 8 IPs and valid IPs are 6. So let's say I'm assuming that 111.1.1.1. One I have configured on my interface and ISP configured already 2. So 3, 4, 5, 6, these IPs are free. So ISP will give you proper Excel sheet over mail. What is the gateway? What all IPs you can configure on your interface? That's not an issue. We'll get all details. But in here for the lab practice, we'll have to use this gateway and any IP we can use from this subnet.
Okay, I got it.
So I just have to use, let's say I'm using here 211/24 I'm using on my interface. And for LAN connectivity, I'm going to use Cisco switch. So type Cisco here and then select switch and then save. and that's my layer 2 switch. So connect with this port number 2. And number of users. So I'm going to use 2 users, let's say. So here I'm going to use Windows 10. So these 2 users connected with switch. And then start. Here on LAN port number 2, you can use any IP address. It's up to you. Let's say I'm using here 10.1.1.1. And on layer 2 switch, we do not have, let's say, VLAN and all. It's very simple topology. Here we do not have a VLAN. Later we can add the VLAN also.
Okay.
Or if you want to configure the VLAN, so we can configure the VLAN also. Then we configure. So let's suppose this port is part of VLAN 10 and it's my L3 VLAN. Here I do add. On this port, I do configure 0 by 0 is part of VLAN 10, let's say.
Okay.
0 by 0 is part of VLAN 10. And here I do configure IP address, which is 10.1.1.2. And this machine is part of VLAN, let's say 20. And here we have a subnet 20.1/24. And in VLAN 20, we do use this port 0 by 1. And here also, it's 0 by 2. So let's say it's part of VLAN 30. The IP subnet is 10.30.30 and port is 0 by 2. So this machine is part of VLAN 20 and this is part of VLAN 30. So all these we can do configure. So let's try to configure first switch. So do click on this switch. You'll get the console of switch. CLI console. Now our switch is booting. Now we've got the access of switch. Host name. I can change it for name of switch. I'm saying where my switch name is LAN switch. And now let's try to configure the VLANs first. So we have to configure 3 VLANs, 10, 20, 30. VLAN 10, 20, and then 30. Done. Now we can do assign 0 by 0 port into VLAN 10. So it's called access VLAN 10. Zero by 1 part of VLAN 20. 0 by 2 is part of VLAN 30. Now we can do assign the IP address on your VLANs. So 0 interface VLAN 10 IP address 10.1.1.2.254.254.254.0 and no shutdown. Interface VLAN 20. Here I can do assign the IP which is 10.20. 10.20.20.1 and then no shutdown. The next IP is this 0 by 2. Interface VLAN 30. IP address is 10.30. And now we can check the routing table of this switch. See, all 3 subnets here showing based on the VLAN. VLAN 10, VLAN 20, VLAN 30.
So this we have created on the switch, the VLANs.
Yes, all
Okay.
VLANs. And we want to point all internet traffic towards firewall. So from switch, we actually want to point all internet traffic towards firewall. So I can give one default route towards firewall on the switch. So now it's in my L3 switch. I'm here giving IP route 000 default route. This should be towards your gateway. And do that. That's it. Now come to here on firewall and see the very first time we get the access of FortiGate firewall. So very similar way you get the physical firewall access on. There is no change. And now it is asking for the username password. So username is admin, but password is blank. So just do enter. It is asking to change the password. So I can give here password, which is admin at 123. Admin at 123. Now we got the FortiGate CLI access. So FortiGate CLI is very simple. So let's say if you want to configure particular interface, so you have to run the command config system. Under config system, you have to go to interface. So you'll get the interface mode. So this is the CLI mode, and from the CLI mode, we have to go to into this interface mode. And from here, now you can select the port. So if you want to configure port number 1, let's say, so you have to say edit port number 1. So now you selected port number 1. Now whatever IP address you want to configure, that you can use with this command 1.211/24. So that's my IP. So set IP and whatever IP address and mask length.
Okay.
It says can't change dynamic IP. So we have to use command set mode static to change the mode.
Okay, it was in a dynamic mode right now.
Yeah. Now this command will work. Next command is set allow access HTTP, HTTPS, SSH, ping. All these commands we can do them. So once you've done these commands, set mode static, set IP, allow access, then what I've done here, allow access command means you can do access your firewall over browser, over HTTP, SSH ping from this port number 1. If you do not allow, so it will not do allow. And if you want to save it, so you can run the command end. End command will save the configuration and it also applied. See, you don't need to write the command like write memory or save config.
I understand.
And now if you want to change the name, so config system global, you can use set host name command you can use. So I'm changing the name. Again, say end.
Yes, I got it.
If you want to check the routing table, so command is get router info routing table details. So to check commands, to check configuration of firewall, either we can do run show command or get command.
Okay.
Commands we have for the view. Now let's do access our firewall from this IP 211. So from this particular IP, we can do directly access our firewall over GUI. Because I've already allowed HTTP, HTTPS.
Yes. Okay, got it.
And now we can use the username password. So we got the access of FortiGate. Now rest thing we can do configure with CLI or GUI. It's up to you.
Okay, I got it.
So you don't need to build or install anything in your device. Everything is there. We have to just build topology, and based on the topology, we can configure our devices. You don't need to arrange image. You don't need to install anything. You just have to access the jump server, and there everything already installed: Windows, server, router, switch, firewall. Multiple firewalls are there. Let's say we want to build a tunnel between FortiGate and Palo Alto. Palo Alto is there. ASA firewall.
I got it. Good. I think this is good, Aftab. I think this is a good session today, what we had.
Okay.
So it's good for me also to understand this, the demo, what we have today, very important discussion also what we did. So okay, I think maybe this time is fine, right, Aftab, for you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
For me, it's fine.
Yeah, yeah. And
Okay,
we will
so
be
you
having
understand
approximate.
everything?
Yeah. Sorry.
I'm saying like you understand everything now?
Yes, yes, I understand everything, and also I understand the main thing was for me to know the trainer how he teaches the student. So I find that you teach in a very good way, so I'm able to understand very well. Okay.
Okay, all right. So we can do continue now, and whatever the timing we have, exciting fine for you. So
Yes,
let's do
yes,
continue
yes.
at the same time, and
Sure. So
rest
usually on
from
the
here
weekend
only
it will be
we
for
will
two
start.
hours, right? We can have 2 hours class on weekends, right?
Yes.
Sure. So 2 hours, two it means 4 hours in
Mainly,
one
we do
weekend.
try to cover 4 to 5 hours. So it depends on the topic.
Yeah, 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 I understand. In 2 days we can cover 4 to 5 hours, right?
Yeah, 4 to 5 hours we can do cover.
On
Saturday,
the
Sunday, 5 hours
weekends.
if we do cover in one week. So
Mhm.
hardly 5 to 6 weekends required
Oh, I understand. I got
to
it. See,
cover.
why I'm telling this is because what sometimes what happens, there are concepts which are very important, and if
Yes, yes,
we,
we can
I
do
mean,
take time. Time
yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
count.
because but
Second
five
half
things
I'll
if I
do free.
study,
Yes,
okay,
yes.
okay, that then for the questions and for the,
Whatever question queries you have, you can do ask. And
mhm.
as per like
So you are
as
right. I
per
think we can go
lab and
topic
everything,
wise.
I'll do try to make you understand. Yes,
Thank you, thank you. I think you are right, After we can do topic wise. Sometimes it takes four, sometimes it takes five, whatever the time it will take me to, we'll finish do it.
yes,
Okay.
yes. We
So
just
from
have
my
to
end, I
finish
don't need
particular
to do
topic.
anything, right? From my end, I don't need to do anything, right? I
Yeah, you
mean,
can
no,
just do brush up your VLAN concept and
I'll
all
just brush up
fundamentals,
that.
so that would be good.
Sure. One thing, Avta, like, see, by Tuesday, I'll make the payment. Okay. Hello.